So, hi Reshma, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me, Vicky.
Can we please start with you give an introduction to yourself, your business, and what you sell?
Sure. So, my name is Reshma, and my brand is Orregin. We are a purpose driven brand where we merge traditional design with creative and modern aesthetics. And we produce very good looking, unique products in the lifestyle categories, so women's accessories and home decor. And
Amazing,
we are selling those products online, mainly direct to consumer.
amazing. Thank you so much. So, can you tell us a little bit about when you started Origin and what inspired you to get started?
Sure. So the origin of Origin really goes back to India. I was actually living in India at the time. I had relocated from the UK to India for business back at the end of 2008, early 2009. And my field at that time was technology and distribution of technology. We were going to come back, which is my husband, myself, and at that time my newly born son, and get back to the UK and come back to life here. And of course, COVID happened, and we got stuck in India during lockdown, which turned out to be the biggest blessing. We were in the process of moving at that time and couldn't get back. So we spent the duration of COVID in India. And it was probably, while, of course, so much turmoil and difficulties, it actually was also a moment of reflection and peace where you got to stand still. And at that time, we actually witnessed, because I'd had privy, very luckily, to beautiful handicrafts in India during my time there. But during COVID, it was really a difficult time where we actually saw the handicraft industry literally pretty much die overnight in small segments. We knew many artisans who were really struggling to sustain their livelihoods because of the cut-off of tourism overnight, and they weren't able to sustain these beautiful generational practices that they were using to create products, and they had to go and find alternative work to feed their families and their communities. So my husband and I said, look, when we get to the UK, this is going to be a mission of ours. We are going to be the face of these very much faceless artisans who the world doesn't see, the world doesn't have access to, and we're going to bring their beauty and their creations to the global market. So the root of this actually happened during COVID, gave birth to an idea that we felt is a very strong mission of ours. And when we got back to the UK and did a lot of research as to what we felt the gaps were in the market, and then we honed down on our categories and, of course, worked very closely with certain artisans to create products that we thought would sell. And then that started the company back in 2024. So we're just over a year old. And that's really the origin of our story.
I love that story. Thank you so much. And I love it when something comes. It sounds to me like it was very unexpected. That it wasn't, this.
Yes.
It wasn't like you'd always thought. Oh, one day I'm going to have a products business. I like the fact that it sort of came organically.
It really did come organically. I mean, I always had a passion for the handicraft industry, but I didn't know that this was going to come about. So yes, it did. It did have its organic growth.
That's really exciting. So you started your business, like you say, just over a year ago. And as we all know, everyone listening to starting a business is really tricky,
Oh, yes.
particularly in the current economic climate. What gave you the confidence to launch Origin, and how sure were you at the outset that that this was a business that would take off?
I don't think you ever have that 100% surety or
Yeah.
certainty, even today. But that drive and that passion and that feeling in your gut that you are onto something here, it makes you feel good. It makes you feel that there is a purpose to what you're doing. And, at the end, everything is a risk. You take a calculated risk. You feel that the market is there for what you're coming out with, and you go with it. So that's really what we did. We just felt in our gut that this is the right time. It's happened with the right access to both geographies, and it just makes sense to begin now. Takes a leap of faith, but if you don't start, you don't know.
That's true. And also, I would say there is never a good time to start a
No.
business. Even if all the stars appear to be aligned, it's such a big undertaking, and there's always going to be risks and there are going to be challenges. I would say there's never a perfect moment.
Absolutely agree. Yeah.
So we're going to talk about some more positive things in just a moment. But while we're sort of focused on those very early stages, were there any other challenges that you faced early on? And if so, how did you navigate them?
So I think one of the biggest challenges is obviously we are importing our products from India, and a couple of things that with technology today it's very easy to access, speak, but there's nothing like being in front of things to touch them, to feel them, to get the aesthetic. So obviously it means we do a lot of travel, which is a great thing, but sometimes that can delay your time to market for products. So we just get over that by increasing our communication and learning. It's a learning journey. So, something that may have taken us 4 months at the beginning, we've now managed to streamline the process and it's down to two. So, it comes with time. These hiccups, or you can say learnings, are there to teach you, help you grow, and you evolve with those processes. Another thing that I think was a challenge is pricing because of a lot of extra costs that are there when you're importing products. Of course, now with movements in free trade and of handicrafts coming into promising segments where it's not really about the duty of the cost, but more the logistics, which is still there. And because we are a small business, we are in small volumes. We don't have large MOQs and we're selling direct to customers. So we have to hold lots of different designs while we're testing the market. So costing can be a challenge with your logistics, but it's a trial and error, and you have to take a step, try it. If you're trying, five new product ideas, one is going to work, four won't, and that's how you learn. So it's been a lot of trial and error and a lot of close access to customers to help give us the feedback that we need to fine tune our product choices.
Yeah, that makes sense. And speaking of your products, I'm really curious to know, are you sourcing products from artisans? I'm just curious about how it works. Are you sourcing products from artisans that they're already making? Are you designing products in collaboration with artisans, or is it a bit of both?
Yeah, great question. So we're very much designing in collaboration with artisans. Um, the depth and the breadth of the Indian handicraft industry is so vast. Every state has its own historically known handicraft where you find artisans who are absolutely amazing experts in their trade. It's generationally passed on, so they know the craft. When it comes to marrying that craft with modern design, that's where we bring in a lot of USPs, and we look aesthetically as to what we feel is working and how we can bridge that design with the traditional way of making something. So we very much bring to the table that collaboration and help artisans use that craft to create products which are relevant today. So
Oh,
we are much more of the second format than the first.
I really like that. That's great because I guess you have the knowledge about what's selling well in the UK, what people are looking for, plus the connections with the people who can actually make it. I think that's brilliant.
Exactly. Exactly. And it helps them to really maintain their craft. So if we are doing our job right and bringing lots of business, then that's empowering them to continue their craft, to continue their trade, and to really make sure that that generational skill continues to get passed down. And that really is one of the three core purposes of our business. So it's very, very important to us that we do what we need to do properly.
No, that's brilliant. And as you've touched on one, tell us about the other two core purposes of the business as well.
Sure. So, Origin is very clear in our mission. And the first is to empower artisans with financial independence. That journey through COVID and the way our eyes were opened, it's really important that they get to financially benefit from this beautiful craft. And we make sure that financial independence is always at the forefront of what we're trying to do. So we're working directly with the artisan. There's no middleman. It's a clear communication line. We understand what they're going through to create something, and we also then are able to translate that back into what we're doing. So it's a very close rapport to ensure financial independence. And the second is to really preserve and protect these traditional handicrafts. You will see across the world, every country has its particular skill that it's known for. And India, of course, being so large, has so many that are also recognized by the government and protected as pure sources of their craft. They're called geographical indications. Now, not all crafts that we work with have received that recognition, but there are so many in India that are, that it allows us to say that, look, this hand block print from Jaipur is made by an artisan who is recognized as an absolute true craftsman or craftswoman of their trade. So it really kind of puts a stamp of authenticity on what they're doing. So the second mission is to really make sure we preserve and promote and protect those traditional handicrafts. And that we do by continuing to use it in the products that we're selling. And the third, of course, is to bring conscious consumers like you and me access to beautiful, good looking, unique products that you don't see across the high street, that you don't see online, and something different that makes you look good, but it also makes you feel good because you know that this is an alternative to mass production. It's not fast fashion, it's not fast commerce, it's slow, purposeful, meaningful purchases. And that's the third purpose of what we're trying to achieve.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that. And I think, by the way, you're doing a good job on all of these.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
So let's talk a little bit more about sort of starting your business, because I love to talk about this because you are still relatively new in your business journey. I know a year is both a long time and a short time, I think, as a business owner. I'd love to know what has been the most valuable support or resource, and there can be more than, you don't have to just choose one, you've had so far. Because I'm thinking from the perspective for anyone else who's in those early stages, it'd be great to have some suggestions of people or places or things that you've done
Mhm.
that have really helped you.
Um, I think with us being more of a direct consumer business, the key, and if you can do this as early as possible in your journey, is to just constantly speak to your customers. The minute that we started to get the brand out through pop-ups and through physical contact with our customers, it just made the world of a difference to know we're on the right track, what they like, what they don't like, and who better to give you that support than your clients, than your end users. So I would advise any business starting in a product focus, which is going directly to the customer, go to them sooner. Get your brand and get your ideas out in front of them as soon as you can. It's really influenced us. It's a very big part of our strategy now. We constantly go to fairs and pop-ups to show our customers our new ideas, our designs, and get their feedback sooner rather than later. Because the other option is, of course, online. It's an expensive approach. It can work really well if it does, but you can't put all your eggs in that approach. It's got to balance out. So for us, it's been brilliant to be in connection with our customers from very early on. So that's been a great success and tool, I would say, that we will continue to use. And then, of course, as a support, as a business owner, it can be lonely, it can be hard, it's scary. Sometimes things just don't work the way that you think they're going to. So who do you talk to? Who do you vent with? And I'm very lucky in this business to have my husband. He's a big support in everything that we do. So for me, that's been great to have him to sound off. But of course, my family, my close friends, when you're feeling something, share it. Don't bottle it up. Don't keep it to yourself. Air it, let it out, and don't be afraid of falling down. You are going to fall. And that's a beauty. That's a part of getting back up, is what you're looking at. It's not how many times you fall, it's how you get back up. And that's something else that I keep reminding myself, because this journey is a long journey, and we're only at the beginning. So just don't be afraid to try and speak to your loved ones for support when you need it.
That's brilliant, thank you. And I do have a few follow-up questions, as I always do, Reshma. So, how about, are you in any other? So it's great you're getting support from your husband, in particular, and your family and your friends. I think that's wonderful. Are you also in any groups of other business owners that can give
Sure.
support and advice? And if so, are there any that you would recommend or like to mention?
So I joined the Giftware Association. That's been a great collaboration. It's opened doors of access to lots of influential business owners and people you can bounce ideas off. And that's even how I met you because we got a route through there. So I 100% recommend joining industry associations that are aligned to your trade. And the Giftware Association for us has been a great one. So that's one. Others, I look for lots of networking opportunities, places to meet like-minded business owners. Um, I don't have anything yet that I could push forward to say, oh, guys, join this one. It's a lot of trial and error. Um, and yeah, I mean, when I find events that come up or any networking occasions to go and meet peers in my industry, I just grab that chance and I go and I talk. So it's really been the Giftware Association for now in the first year of our business that we joined, and that I would suggest to others to also look at if you're in this trade.
Brilliant, thank you. And I actually released an episode all about the Giftware Association with
Oh,
Victoria a few weeks ago. So I'll recommend anyone who hasn't goes back and listens to that episode to find more what they're about. I agree with what you say as well about just going to local networking and groups and just finding out what works for you, because you're right. I've definitely been recommended more networking groups in the past, and
mm,
someone says go to this group, it's really great, and you can go and just not connect with anyone, or just
yeah,
the vibe isn't there, or something's a bit off. So
yeah.
I'm completely with you. I think the best thing we can all do is just go along to lots of different things and try and just see which ones are a fit, because some will be and some won't be.
Absolutely. So even on Instagram now, obviously they know what you're looking at, and the algorithm is set to know you better. So I constantly get pop-ups of events and even fairs that I think are a great fit for our brand and for our product. And I would never know about it if it hadn't popped up on my feed. So nowadays there are just so many things, and you just pick what you feel could be of value to you and go and try it out.
Definitely. And it sounds like you're really good, Reshma, at just going for things, at saying, I'm just going to try this, I'm going to go along. And coming back to, you were talking about going to pop ups and fairs and meeting your customers. So, was that something you deliberately decided you were going to do from day one?
I think it evolved. I think even quite early on when we've got so many product choices and we had so many categories when we began. We had, even within home, we had lighting, frames, mirrors, tableware. It was endless. And every time I'd visit and go meet my suppliers, oh, I love this, I like this, why don't we do this? It was constant ideas. And you have to remember that pure handicrafts and then coming and selling it into a retail environment, there are a lot of rules, a lot of regulations, a lot of things you have to make sure the product passes, which I perhaps was not so thoughtful about at the beginning. So I had to step back and say, okay, calm down, let's scale this down and just pick two or three areas that we want to focus on. So we scaled it down and went in homeware to tableware, and in women's accessories to bags and bathrobes. And then when we decided to test our thinking, is it correct? That's, I think, what propelled us to go and meet customers sooner rather than later. Because you may think you're on the right track, but if people don't like it, if people don't love it, then it doesn't work. So the sooner we got out there after doing this strategic shift, the better. And it did tell us we're on the right track. And in fact, it made us go more towards bags because that was definitely the most popular category that we were seeing results on. So now we are launching new collections that are going to come up for Christmas, and those are all based across the bag category. So from large tote bags, small tote bags, clutches, um, natural material bags, they're all focused along bags. And that's come from feedback from our customers.
Yeah, thank you. That's really interesting. And I really like the fact you did it face to face, because I know a lot of advice you get is to, do a survey or ask people on social media, but I think there's nothing like actually seeing people and also them seeing you and them seeing your products and picking them up and just being
It's
able
a
to have a
different
conversation.
feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do you think that's really helped you to build trust with your customers? The fact that you talk
100%.
to them and they see you.
100%. And you have to, you want to get the honest opinion from your customers. You don't want somebody to say, "Oh, that's great," and that's it. What do you like about it? Do you love the color? How's the size? Is it convenient for you? What would you change? And it's really helped us. We had one bag where we got so much good feedback about things that customers loved, but also things that they'd like to see in the next iteration. So we've incorporated all that feedback, and one of the new bags that are coming out is a result of that. So if you don't talk and share, you don't improve from where you were before. So I would highly recommend it.
That's really useful. Thank you. And what else do you think you've done, or is there anything else you've done that you think's helped you stand out as a new brand? Because it's hard, isn't it, to start a business? Because, well, same starting anything at the moment. There's lots of businesses out there. I don't think I've met anyone doing quite what you're doing. However,
Oh, that's
there
great.
are other people selling bags and homeware. What do you think that you've done that's helped you stand out?
That's a great question. So I think for us, and this really goes back to why we decided to begin this, is really our story and is really the artisan behind the product. And I think what I've learned over the last years, I need to, and I want to, and I'm going to create a lot more content focusing on the origin of the product. So when you and I, as customers, when we see how something has come to us, understand more about the craft, see more about the skill, and that's woven together into a beautiful story. It just makes me appreciate that product 10 times over. And I want to incorporate far more of that moving forward. So it's always been there, but I don't think we were able to get enough footage for things because, again, of the distance. So we've started to incorporate that more. And I want to showcase that more. I want people to see, the beauty behind the product.
Yeah, I think people are genuinely interested in that. Are you finding
They
that when
really are.
you're speaking to customers, are they interested in the origins and who's made it and how it's made? Are you finding those are the conversations people are having with you?
So it's mixed, and honestly speaking, there are those who do care of that, and then there are those who are more conscious of, let's say, the price of the product, and that's what matters more. So you have to be mindful of both, and that's another important point, I guess, which has led us to focus more on the direct consumer journey, is that at the end of the day, the product has a specific cost attached to it. There are X, Y, and Z that you have to bear in mind. But then when you're selling it, it needs to be affordable. You want to, at least we want to, reach as many customers as we can. And in today's economic climate and today's circumstance, affordability does matter. Style should not just be with a huge price tag. It should come in at a price that everybody can enjoy. So I think that's been a big learning as well. And we're really trying to keep our products and pricing in line with the feedback. In fact, there was an event we went to, and customers were telling us we were underpricing the product. Um, so I love feedback like that. But we did decide to stick with the price that we were positioning because it had such a massive uptake. So we'd rather have that, which means that we have to do more to bring in more product, which ultimately helps our artisan. So at the end, we want to get this to as many hands as possible. Um, and that came from, again, feedback from customers.
Yeah, I really like that because you're right. You could have just said, "Oh, actually, now we're going to charge more." But I really like your mission of getting the products sold more widely because, as you say, coming back to the artisans, that means more sales for them, keeps them
Absolutely.
going. As you say, you can introduce more products and different products. Yeah, I really like that. But it must be such a balance though with pricing because obviously you need to make sure that artisans are paid fairly. Then you have your all of your associated costs. Pricing must be really tricky.
It's tough. It is tricky. There's at least 15 different facets that go into, just your landed cost and then your costs over here. So we keep our operational costs exceptionally streamlined. At the end, we're a small business. It's only us right now. And of course, we are really navigating towards using the online channel to help us spread the word. That's something that's a big part of my year too, is learning, because personally, getting in front of a camera and being able to be comfortable speaking about our story and what we're trying to do, it's a challenge I need to overcome personally. So that's something that I'm focusing on now to get comfortable with it and just, treat it as you do any other channel of your business. It's now a very integral part of what you're doing. So don't be afraid of it. Embrace that fear and just go ahead and try and learn how best to use it for your business. So that's something I really want to do this year because I think there's no better way to get our story across. And I would love to have more customer stories online as well to balance that and let people hear from people what they love.
Well, I have to say, you're doing a very good job of that today, of talking about your brand and the
Oh,
story. You're doing that very
that's
well.
good. Thank you.
And so, is that for year two? Is part of your drive? Is that to get more sales online as opposed to those you're
Yes.
getting face to face?
Yeah, we definitely want to balance the online with the physical pop-ups and utilize both channels to really spread the brand and to increase awareness.
That makes sense because I guess are the pop ups that you're doing, are they more local to you or are you going everywhere?
So I'm going all across really, and with a young son
Mm,
and desire to be present in life. You really want to be present for all the moments that you can. Pop-ups and fairs, they're very exhausting. They're long days. You're basically out from 6 to 10 p.m. So it's not sustainable every day.
of
It
course.
has to be balanced. So I think bringing more of the online in will help us to balance that better. We never want to move away from the customer feedback, but I think it's important to try and get more volume through an online channel as well as being present physically. So we do need to balance that better.
Yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense though. And I think the order you've done it to me also makes a lot of sense because I guess in year one, it's probably been great. You've been out meeting people and getting the feedback, also building awareness because you'd hope that some of the people that have met you in real life at a fair or a pop up will now go and buy from you on your website because they've bought from you before and they know the brand.
Yeah,
So it does make total sense. But I know what you mean. There's a lot of time and money involved in going along to a
absolutely.
fair or a pop up, and
Yeah.
yeah, I don't think just doing that is sustainable for many businesses.
No, I mean, you're absolutely right. So after every event that we've completed or during, we suddenly notice the online sales going because obviously people were talking to you, they bought a bag in a particular color, they liked another, they didn't do it there. They've gone home and they've gone and bought that online. So it's great to see that support the online growth. But now we'd like to bring in obviously advertising to reach more people because organically you can only reach so many as well. So yeah, it's definitely I think an important focus for us in the second year.
Yeah, I think that's really exciting as well.
Yeah,
Really, really
fingers crossed.
exciting.
Yes,
So, a few final questions till we finish, if that's okay, Reshma. One thing
of
I'd love to know
course.
is we spoke right at the beginning about how it can be, it could be considered a tough time now to start a business. But looking back over the past year that you've had, do you think there were any advantages to starting your business when you did?
Hmm. To be honest, I don't know. All I know is that was the right time for me, and I took it. Would it have been easier to wait a year and do it now? I don't think so. I think what happened at the right time and allowed us to be where we are today. So I don't, like you said at the beginning, I don't think there's ever a right time or a perfect time. When it feels good and you're able to manage that within your family and take that risk, then take it because there's never going to be a time where it's perfect, like you said.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it just was right for me at the time, and I wouldn't change it. It's definitely not been an easy year, and at times you think, is this really working? Is this going to have the vision that I have in my head? Is it going to actually happen? But you don't know till you try. And just don't expect it overnight. Be patient with yourself. And like I said, just don't be afraid to fall. We all fall. We have to get back up. That's what matters. So just go for it.
No, I think that's all brilliant. Thank you. And I think one other advantage is you are a year further along. There's that
Exactly.
as
I'm still
well.
here. I'm
Yeah,
still standing.
I think I think that, like you said, there's never perfect timing, but I think the benefits of starting when you did is that now you've got a year under your belt. Because let's face it, things aren't getting easier for any of us,
They're not.
and there is something to be said of already gone through that. You know, those very early months, in the bits when you're making. Obviously, we all make mistakes. We all make mistakes now, but I think those mistakes that you make in the early days and those uneasy times of not knowing quite what you're doing and finding things out that you didn't know you needed to know, it's quite nice to have some of that behind you.
Absolutely. I mean, when I started, in my head, I felt that I would really love to see retail grow quickly for us. But it was a tough learning curve. People love brands, love the product, they love the story. But at the end, the price has to match because obviously retail has their own markup that has to be added into something. And you cannot be priced so differently to category similar products in the market. You're not going to get the volume that you want. So that was a big learning for us. You know, you have in your head that this is the way it's going to be, but actually it doesn't. And our route is turning out to be more direct to consumer. So you don't know, and you don't know till you try it. And these are the things that teach you. And it's not easy. You expect something to happen, you want something to happen, but there are factors beyond your control. I cannot change certain things on my price. I will not reduce my artisan price. I will not reduce X, Y, and Z. So you have to sometimes say, okay, thank you, and move on to the next. And that's the way it goes.
That's really good. And I think it's important having that skill to just be able to pivot and say, okay, this isn't going to work. Let's try that. I think that's
Yeah.
a real skill to have as a business owner and one that we all definitely need.
For sure, and it keeps evolving. So it doesn't happen overnight. You will be shown things and you learn things that will push you to take the courage to pivot and navigate to a different approach.
That's all brilliant. Thank you. So, my final question for you, Reshma, which is one that I ask everybody who comes on the podcast, is what would your number one piece of advice be for other product business owners?
Number one piece of advice.
I know that's tricky.
Yeah, I'm trying to see how to merge it all into one. If you believe in what you're doing, take the leap of faith. Have that confidence in yourself and try. There is no harm that can come from trying. And the positives, of course, you can live your vision. You can see it happen. So my piece of advice would be just don't sit on the fence too long. Sometimes you can sit on the fence too long. You miss the opportunity, you miss the boat, and that fear takes over. So I would say go for it. As a personal somebody speaking from personal experience where it takes that leap of faith to say begin, my advice would be take it. You're new here, you want to try and see if what you have in your head is actually going to translate into reality. Try, begin, just go for it. That would be my first piece of advice, my number one piece of advice. Just don't miss the opportunity, take your step.
That's brilliant advice. Thank you so much, Reshma.